Hey guys, so here we are. Might be some noise in the background because a lot of people are doing fireworks. You're looking a little smudged. That looks better. Anyways, so I put up that video and I got a lot of comments on there, but some people had some questions, so I wanted to answer them off the bat. Someone asked, "Does this take that the GMC Minuteman Outdoors? Happy 4th of July to you too." Someone asked, "Does it take the I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce it. This Dexos is the way I'm pronouncing it, but I'm probably wrong. Yes, it does. And if you read about this, essentially, GMC in 2011 decided that they were going to make their own oil, and that's what this oil is. Now, it has a certain criteria and specifications, and with that, essentially, it's for gas mileage and optimal life, longer intervals between changes, stuff like that. I'm going to leave this off because I actually need it off. So, those are just a few of the things, but they add, chemicals to it and stuff like that to help, I guess, preserve your motor. Now, if you guys recall, I said I'm going to start doing my oil changes every 3,000 miles instead of 5,000 miles. In fact, I think they even offer a 7,000 mile option. So I always opt for 5,000 when I get it changed at the place that I bring it to, preferred service. Although I think the last oil change I got was from the dealer. But anyways, so they say, oh yeah, well, it can void your warranty. Well, it doesn't have any manufacturer warranty on it anymore, so I'm not worried about it voiding any sort of warranty. So yeah, what this oil is, right? This Dexos, or however it's pronounced, probably butchering it to be honest. But anyways, what that is it's just a GMC specific criteria that they want to run in these vehicles. And if you look it up, the only brand that can meet the criteria is Valvoline. So I didn't know it, but I actually got Valvoline. So as far as brand goes, I'm okay. Now, I didn't go fully synthetic. I want to try something synthetic versus not synthetic. And so we're going to go with non-synthetic on this run, and it's fine. And then a lot of people said, don't do the Fram oil filter. For this one, I'm going to have to. I'm not going to sit here and run to Walmart again. But like I said, it's only going to be for 3,000 miles, and then we'll get her switched over. So it's good to know. I didn't know Walmart carried Wix brand filters. But like I said, today's the 4th, and everything on the earth is closed. So, yeah. I got a really long comment from somebody that kind of was whatever. They said they started off kind of nice, and then they ended it not so nice. If you guys look back at the video, you'll see it. It's a big, long one. And, yeah. So, essentially, according to them, I don't know how the world works, but if you ask me, I think I'm doing pretty good. You don't need to know all of how the world works. But anyways, I already got my wrench here. I was under there. It's a 15 millimeter, the 3/4 inch socket, or the non-metric one was looser, so it's a 15 mil, and we're gonna crawl under there, and I'll try to show you guys what's going on. But first of all, I got my oil pan underneath there. We got the cap taken off, and that's just gonna allow it to breathe. We're gonna get under there. We're gonna get the oil out. So I got it parked in the garage. It's as level as it can get. I gotta get on my creeper, and I don't have any like ramps, so it's a little tight under here. I'm gonna grab my other wrench to set you guys on. So let's head under here. It's real tight. Happy 4th, my American friend. Thank you. If you're not from America, I guess I don't have to wish you a happy 4th. But I will anyways, so happy 4th to you. Okay. So this blue thing right here is the oil filter right here. And on this side, if I grab you guys, it's really tight under here without ramps. Right, where is it hiding? Right there is the bolt I gotta take out. So, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. It has been a very long time since I did an oil change. Oh wow, they got that on there real tight. There she goes. Oh, damn. They got that tighter than hell. Okay, now comes the fun part of Operation Catch the Oil. You don't get oil on your hand, you'd be lucky here. There she comes. Looks nice and dark. So I'm gonna get the I'm gonna let that drain for just a minute. She's looking dark. I'm gonna let that drain though, and then we'll get the filter off. Oh. I'll grab you guys for a minute. Sorry about that. I'm gonna grab a 19 people. Oh gosh, don't you guys have lives? Let's see. Elk Mike 23 said, "Did you have fun in Grand Marais? Or hope you had fun in Grand Marais? We had a blast. My hands are just filthy. We had a really fun time. It was great. Wish we could live in that town. Oh yeah, gotta find my paper towels. Here they are, sitting by the camper. There we go. Clean off my hands. It's a 22, hanging up on the wall for fun. I love that Red Ryder though because it's a good Plinkin 22. It's a BB gun. But I love that Red Ryder because fill it up and you can just keep shooting all day. Alright, it's making some gurgling noises. I'm gonna try this wrench. It's the first time I ever owned one of these. So, having like PTSD with these fireworks. And I was never even in the military. I'm sure the pugs are loving it. Oh, I should have stayed under here. We got a BP problem going on. Oops. Got a BP problem. Oh man. Got a big BP problem going on here, folks. Oh man. Can you guys see the puddle? Oh yeah. Alright. So, see if I can figure this out. The wrench just goes on here like so. Very interesting. I've never used one of these. Oh, there she goes. Oh. Hopefully it still works with oil all over it. What a weird spot for this oil filter on the very bottom like this. Normally they're on the side. Oh man, that's tight. Holy buckets. Oh, it splattered me. It's gonna be a kitty litter kind of night, I reckon. There There she goes. There she is. Making a mess, but that's okay. Oh, yeah, I think the seal just kind of went on there. Alright. Make sure we get it good and loose because my hands are full of oil, so my grip on this is not going to be very good. Yeah. This is going to have a bunch of oil in it too. There she goes. That's a dirty job. Try not to drop this in there though, because that'll just make a big splash. Do not want a big splash. There we go. There we are. Oil filter's out. We're just going to let this thing make its mess for a minute. While we investigate this oil filter. Nothing like dripping hot oil. Set you guys down here. I'm making a huge mess all over the garage floor, but that's okay. Alright, let me get some paper towels. We're going to check this out. So, I'm imagining that this is just a generic filter that the dealership puts on there. I don't imagine there's going to be any sort of branding on it. Sounds like someone's hammering. It's the fireworks going on. Alright. So, yeah, this filter here doesn't have any sort of a branding on it. Looks like there used to be a sticker on there, but it's gone. But, got some pretty dark oil coming out of there. Like I said, I was reading online and they're saying, oh, you can replace them every 2 oil changes. Or a lot of places do replace them every 2 oil changes, and that didn't sit well with me because I'm like, this is a tiny filter. You expect this to last for 14, up to 14,000 miles? It's crazy. Alright, so we got that good. I still hear it dripping. Yeah, she's still dripping, so we're going to have to wait a minute. That banging is from fireworks from the neighbors. Yeah, we got a bunch of people doing fireworks, and the actual fireworks display is about 2 miles that way. I'm actually surprised that I'm not seeing them. I can hear them. They're somewhere over there. Not those ones left. That's like a whole brick of firecrackers. Holy moly. Jim says AC Delco filter. Yeah, I want to do that or a Wix. Jim, if you just kind of tuned in, I had a little bit of a QA type session in the beginning. I plan on doing this every 3,000 miles instead of 5, like I've been doing 5 on the past 2 vehicles. But I want to start doing it about every 3,000 miles, and And so this Fram filter that I bought, that's all that Fleet Farm carries is like Fram. So the next go around, I'll put a uh, AC Delco or a Wix filter in there. I'm not worried about it for 3,000 miles, but over a very long time, I would be maybe concerned about it. But yeah, for a lot of you, I guess I didn't have that many people. Someone asked this Dexos or Dexus, whatever you want to say. That's a GMC specific oil, and what that means is GMC has developed their own oil for these trucks, and what the specifications were that I read about. They're trying to get more gas mileage. They put some chemicals in there, obviously, for like maintenance type reasons, you know, engine wear and tear. But specifically, it's just, they say it could void your warranty. You know, if you got a bad dealership or something, it could void your warranty. Well, I have no this thing's glitchy. I have no factory warranty left on this bad boy, so that part doesn't matter, I guess. And I'm just doing. Oh, Jim, you commented on that? Good thing you said that, because if it's the one I'm thinking of, I think you're talking about, there's a strap right here on the motor, and this one here, it has like a green type corrosion on it, and I loosened it up and I retightened it, and it doesn't seem to have a ton of corrosion on the ends of it, but I've been keeping my eyes open to see if I can find one. Hasn't done it since, but it has all that nice green corrosion on there that's making me think that it could have been, you know, that maybe the strap was not getting all the ground and then some water got behind there. But I don't know how much it costs at an auto parts store, and I have not looked it up. And I did mess around with my battery cables also. Alright, so we're back down here and we're just dripping now, so I'm free to put the I'll put the new filter in. Let me go grab it here. And I should mention, as far as Fram filters goes, this one here is not the cheapest one you can possibly buy. So I did do a mid-grade on it, which is better than nothing. So yeah, gotta put some oil on here for the seal. Been so long here. You want to put some oil on the rubber part of the seal. That way you're not putting it in there dry. Honestly, I could have probably dipped this right in there like this. Not gonna hurt it. But anyways, get this up and in here. And for this, I believe we just kind of snug it up in there, because over time it's going to tighten itself. As is anything that you put under feet. Let's see. Just going to use this to give her a couple little bits here, because it was pretty tight, that other one. Nice and snug, and then the bolt here for the other side. Oh man, do I ever have a oil mess. Jesus. Like I said, this is a 15 mil. It's surprising. I thought it would be standard, but it's metric. Once again, you know, this one was really tight. Doesn't have to be crazy tight, because over time they're going to tighten themselves with heat. Last but not least, I'll just take a rag here. If you get oil on anything, you know, it'll either burn off or it's not bad for any of these components. Some people spray oil on the bottom of their frames for rust proofing. Alright, that's good. Alrighty, so that is that. Now, check that stuff. That. I bet I'll just leave this under here because I'll start it up, and when I back it up, I'll have I'm gonna leave that oil container under there because when I back up it'll be easier. Oh yeah, I got a whole thing of kitty litter already on the floor because I'm constantly making messes. Okay, so I'm gonna go grab the new oil. It's just around the side of the truck there, and I'll show you guys that, and we'll go from there. So the hard stuff is done. Now it's just easy. Okay. So as luck would have it, there is one manufacturer that produces oil that can meet GM's Dexos specification, and that's Valvoline. But it's not the type that I got. So this is the type I got. I got regular because I wanted to see if that directly affects my oil pressure, being that it's a non-synthetic. We're gonna find out. So we got that. Just happens to have this fancy freaking lid thing on it. I don't know. And it takes 6 quarts. 5 quarts for the motor and like a quart for the filter type dealio. It's kind of the breakdown of it. What's going on, Neil? So I'm just cleaning out the funnel because it's a smart thing to do. It sits on the workbench, it might get some dust in it or whatever. Just cleaning out real good. Since all my funnels are universally used for gas, or maybe I'm filling a lantern or something. This is my oldest funnel I've had. And we'll get this put in here. I had a big red funnel, but I don't know where it's at now. Yeah, big red's gone. I don't know. There's a ton of Dexos approved oils, mobile pencil Valvoline. I use the oil from Rural King, made by Warren. It's fully synthetic, and it's $9 a gallon. It's pretty good. It's a really good price, actually. Set you up here. Always the key is to try to get the shot. Okay, so we get the funnel hanging out right in here. Wish I had a better spot for you guys, but I don't think I do. Got a random easy pour thing. I don't know. It's 2018. I mean, you'd think easy pour would be a thing of the past, but it's not. Where just gonna go for it here. And I'll take this whole jug plus one more. And once we back the truck up, we gotta start the truck for a minute, let it run, and make sure everything's good. But once we do that, we can back up and we can look, because oil almost looks like a honey, and gotta kind of look at what you got going on for a 5,000 mile oil change. I always was told that a synthetic blend, like a fully synthetic, is thinner, which makes no sense to me, because happy 4th to you too, Chad. Makes no sense to me because the actual synthetic part of it isn't anything to deal with the weight of the oil. So I think that might be wrong on my thought process for this test. I'm also curious, I think I'm going to have to reset my oil gauge, and I'm not sure how to do that. I just think that whatever oil that I'm getting from the dealership, they're doing the finale at the place, you can hear it. Whatever oil that I'm getting at the dealership is probably, it's all a money game, right? So it's probably about the cheapest stuff that they can get, because they have to, you know, get people in there, which means the people want it for as cheap as they can get. So in my mind, what comes out of a bottle should be almost like better quality. Okay, so we're gonna start this pig up, and hopefully there's no leaks or nothing. I should probably take a peek right now. I don't think, yeah, there ain't no leaks under there. They use Mobile One. See, everybody uses different, eh? You got people in here saying, oh, you can't use that brand. You can use whatever you want. Alright, let's give her a rip. My headlights are so bright. Here. The air conditioner is already gripping. That's what you see over here. Just let it kind of warm up for a minute. Alright, I think we're good. This thing has a sensor on it, so I mean, if it was, for whatever reason, leaking oil, it would tell me low oil. Alright, I think the creeper's out of the way. Whew. Okay. We're good. Put the oil in it and go. Yeah, the oil sensor thing. Alright, so this is what I'm talking about right here. Check this out. Okay, so when I had synthetic blend in here, right? When I had synthetic blend in here, the oil pressure at full temp was sitting right above that 20 line. Right above this line right here. And now I can't zoom out. There we go. Come on. Jesus. Little more. There it is. So this was my test, is I wanted to know, I brought it in, got the oil changed from the dealership, and when I got it, you know, I noticed, like, holy crap, you know, like my oil pressure seems low. And I think that has something to do with the fully synthetic, because in my mind, I was always told, like, it's a thinner oil, right? Just by nature. So, I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. But anyways, so I did some research or whatever just to see, and I thought, I'm gonna try this. So it actually is, now we have a lot of oil pressure. Hopefully that's, holy crap. Come on, phone. I think we're okay. Hopefully that's okay. Rev up a little bit. When it gets warm, it'll drop back down. I believe it should now sit right around that 40. I think having more oil pressure than less should be better, right? I'm not getting much on the old chat line here. I was hoping someone would know something, but that oil I had in there, it sat at about 20, and then when we were driving, it would go to maybe 30, and to me that seemed low. See there, she dropped a good bit. So I'm hoping that it will hover around 40. Right now it's a little higher than 40. I'm hoping it hovers right at that 40 to be safe. And I also thought we had that slight tick in the motor, which is fine, right? It's not like it's gonna die from that, but I was thinking, well, maybe it's just not getting everywhere. So just hop back out here, take a peek. She sounds really good. So maybe what the dealership did is they put a full synthetic in here versus a you know, synthetic blend or something, and that's why I noticed the difference. Oh, sorry. So it's not dripping. If you see over here, that's my air conditioner. And I have no tick in that motor right now, which is really good. So I gotta read this comment from Bubba Crab here in a minute. Okay. So Bubba Crab says, in my Chevy, it drops just below 40 at idle sometimes, but goes up when driving. If the dipstick says full, I think you're fine. The gauge may not be that accurate anyways. That's what I was thinking as well. So, and then Elk Mike asked if I was off for the rest of the week. You know it, man. You know I'm off. Got 1 week off. See, now she sits perfectly at 40. Hopefully not hit anything as we back out, as in like tools. So 33 minutes. The dirty work took 33 minutes. Yep, and now we're just sitting perfectly around 40, which to me is right, because I don't know, to me that's just right. Alright. It's really humid out. You can see the air conditioner and all of its liquid sitting on top. So I'll probably end up going on a little drive with that thing. Take the key out of that. Alright, get this down. Go down. Alright. Bubba Crab said, when I was a kid, I asked a veteran mechanic about my gauges, and he asked me if he could fix it. He put black tape over them and said, just drive it. Isn't that the truth? My other Chevy Tahoe, the gauges would flop all around on it. Alright, so this is our oil. She filled up that pan real nice. Looks pretty black. It was 5,000. It was, actually this is a little over 5,000. Oh, here's that sticker. I bet. Yep. So there's an AC Delco. Happy 4th to you too, Robert. It's an AC Delco oil filter they had in there. So, yeah. All right, now for the fun part of cleanup, because I'm the biggest fan of that. Personally, you should just let this seep back into the concrete because, I mean, that's, right? Let it go back to the earth. Kidding. So now you can reuse your old jug. Fill it back up. And there's always places all over town that will take this used oil. I mean, I can think of like 3 of them in just my town. So, I mean, any recycling place will take used oil. I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they burn it or what they do, but they all seem to take it. You can bring oil, antifreeze, pretty much anything you want. You bring there and they'll take it. Dump it all into the same old bucket and they filter it out themselves. So yeah, the reason why I'm doing this before I do anything else is because, like you can tell, I'm just going to leak it all out, all over the floor. Probably get like 3 quarts in the jug. God, it smells like old oil. Here. And the rest is for kitty litter. Going to have to scoop off the floor here. Essentially, I have a bag of kitty litter that constantly floats around the garage floor from spot to spot to spot. That's how it works. I think this might be the last of it, though. I think I might need to really invest in some more. That might be my trip tonight, is to go get some kitty litter. That was like putting a Band-Aid on the whole spillage here. Let's see. You guys see that puddle? Yeah, it's kind of a lot. I messed up, okay? I messed up. My father-in-law taught me a cool trick, though, with kitty litter. And it's, if you're moving and you have like paint jugs, starting an oil filter on it. If you're moving and you have like paint jugs that you want to get rid of, if you put kitty litter in there, it'll actually suck up the paint and make it like a hard paste, and then it's safe enough to put into the garbage can. So they say. I'm totally gonna have to go get kitty litter. Elk Mike said, by the way, Zach, I've been watching Joe and Zach Survival since 2012, which was essentially the beginning. And he loves it. Thank you. I always like to hear good comments. It's awesome. Yeah, we got a good spill going on here. It's going to take a little bit for me to figure this one out. Don't want to get my broom all nasty, but I think it's already nasty. Alright, so what are we at? 39 minutes. Love. You spend lots of time up in there. That's awesome. Yeah, it's truly a beautiful area, and you couldn't replicate the beauty that is up there just naturally, you know. So it's just pure peacefulness. Sounds like the Gepito. All right, guys. I'm gonna go in and wash my paws, and I think I'm gonna have to make a Walmart trip for some more kitty litter because I don't have nearly enough here to take care of my BP oil spill. But there you go. The funny part about this is, since I bought my 2012 Ford Focus, Northwood's tracker asked, can I ask what really happened to Max? It's okay if you don't want to say. What you guys know is the truth. Max just got sick. Well, he didn't get sick. He got old, right? And all dogs, you know, just like people, you get tired and weak, and he was to the point where he was, oh, Chester. Well, that is also the truth. My dad was doing chores one evening, and Chester always loved to run. You know, it's one of the greatest things, and that's honestly why he wasn't up here at my place, because he needed to run. I don't have a big yard. We tried to have him up here. In all honesty, we did try to have him up here, and it just did not work out the way we were hoping. So one evening, my dad lets him out to do chores, and it wasn't uncommon for Chester to go on a run. And he would just go run around the woods, go wherever, and he would be gone for, you know, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, sometimes quite a long time. And he'd find his way home, right? And it was never ever a big deal. So my dad let him out to do chores. This particular evening, it was, I think, a little later. It was like fall, almost winter, which I'll get to why I say that. But he let him out and, you know, paid no attention because he had to feed all of his birds and everything else that he has going on. And he got done with them, and he went, oh man, where's Chester at? So he hopped in his truck and he drove around along the neighborhood there, calling for his name and stuff, and he didn't come back, which that honestly wasn't that uncommon either, because Chester was doing his own thing. He always found his way back. I mean, Chester was 12, if not 14 years old, and so Dad thought, okay, that's fine. You know, I'll head back. He'll come back in a few hours, whatever. But he went out there looking for him. He went around the immediate neighborhood, and he went down the road to the other neighborhood. But there's not much like around my dad. It's all farm fields and stuff like that. So, you know, he waits for him. Well, he's not back by the time my dad goes to bed. So he goes to bed, no big deal. Like I said, it wasn't that, none of that was that uncommon. He'd be gone for a long time. He was exploring, he was doing his thing. And my dad lives in an area where you can do that. It's not a big deal. So he wakes up the next day, and Chester still isn't back. He's like, oh man. At this point, I'm trying to remember the timeline of it, but we ended up getting this really big storm that came through, and we got like 10 inches of snow or something. I'm sure my dad has a video on it. We got a whole bunch of snow. So my dad's like, oh great, you know, he's not back. My dad actually is getting worried at this point, because like, where's the dog? So my dad once again goes around the neighborhood. He goes up and down the road looking in the ditch, like, did he get hit by a vehicle? What's going on? No trace of that no trace of Chester anywhere. And ooh, that was a loud one. So all that snow came down, and then he was waiting to see, for tracks. Is he coming back at night? What's going on? That was it. And that's it. And Dad called me up. I went down there. I looked for him. Went all over in the woods, looking under, if trees fell down, looking underneath to see, and there was just no trace of him. What we're thinking is my dad said that he would see, like a few weeks before, he was kind of like, he howled weird or something like that, and I guess that's a sign. That's like, the howl is like a sign of maybe they're like hurt or something, but like we always checked on him and stuff, and he was never, he always had food, he always had water, he was always in like really good health. He had the most energy I've ever seen a lab have in my whole entire life. At his rightful age, which I believe was about 12, I'd have to look at his certificate of birth, but he had more energy than a 2-year-old lab. I mean, that dog could go to the point, his whole life, to the point where I had to say, calm down, dude. Like, we'd go on runs and stuff, but it was like, okay, you gotta take a break. Because I honestly think that dog could run until he died. And that might have been the case. He might have took off running, and it was his one last run. I mean, who knows? We looked all over for him. At that point, we were concerned maybe he's at some sort of a humane society or whatever. Got in touch with all the local places, their Facebook pages, called to see if they had any dogs like that. And they didn't have any dogs that meet his criteria. So that's how it was with Chester. Still haven't found any trace of him. It just is what it is, I guess. He ran away and never came back. I mean, it sounds like such a cliche thing, like, oh yeah, BS, but honestly, that's how it went down. And I would be willing to put money on the fact that when dogs get sick, they like to try to get away, and they like to die alone and on their own. So I'm thinking that that's probably the way he wanted to go, and that's the way he did it. But it wasn't out of, I think a lot of people would think like, oh, it's out of neglect. It wasn't out of neglect or anything like that. It was just, that's the way he wanted to go, I guess. Yeah. So, and yeah, now Melissa's moved up and they're taking care of Melissa's 2 dogs, Nellie and I can't quite remember the other dog's name. And they're sweethearts too. Really good dogs, but I don't know, people get all weird. I've seen some comments on Joe and Zach's survival that came up on one of the videos, or maybe that was Northern Seclusion. It was Northern Seclusion on where my dad builds that dog kennel, and people were going off about it. It was like, you can only tell the truthful story of it, and people are either going to like it or hate it or believe it or not believe it, and that's on them. So I think I'm imagining your name is Mike. Mike, I think that, if you've went back and watched a few of my other live streams, or if you've been around long enough to hear me say this story every time, it's the same story every single time. So it is the story the way it happened. I mean, we put in good effort to find that dog, and it just didn't work. I mean, I went trudging, I got the called in from work, drove an hour plus, because it was all snowy down there, to look for the dog. It was, by the time I got down there, it was 6 to 7 o'clock at night. It was pitch black out. I'm out there with a flashlight with Sam, looking through the woods after a really big snowstorm, like trudging around, and I could not find that dog. I thought for sure I was going to find him. I'm like, he's just, he'll come. Nope. And there wasn't any tracks from or nothing. So he went and he never came back. But yeah, I mean, My dad doesn't like to have the dogs inside, and that's him, right? I mean, there's a lot of everybody has a different opinion and stuff like that, and it is what it is. So my dad doesn't like to sleep with animals, and Sam and I, we have 2 cats, 2 guinea pigs, a hamster, and 2 dogs. One of which we've just been like house sitting or whatever for her parents. For the last 6 months, they're in a transitionary period between 2 houses, and they are in an apartment. So that's kind of the reasoning behind that. We'll probably be watching her for a little while longer. And yeah, so we love animals. And like I said, we tried to have Chester up here. It just didn't work. Like I said, that dog had more energy than any other dog I have ever met. I mean, he was just... how to explain it? Like when you come home, if you have animals, when you come home and you see them, let's say they've been hanging out on their own for 8 hours, and they are that excitement, that pure excitement of like, oh my gosh, you're home. That was him 100% of the time. He was never ever a tired dog. And but he was getting old. I mean, last year duck hunting, he couldn't hear very well anymore. He couldn't see very well anymore. He almost actually he got away from me when we were up there. I sent him out on a duck, and it was really high rice. We have wild rice there. Super high wild rice. Sent him out, realized the wind was coming at my face, and he was gone. He ended up hitting a beaver trail or something, and he was way the heck down there. I almost didn't make it to him in time because I'm trying to push my canoe through all this heavy rice, and it was like I lost most of my morning hunt with him because he scared the absolute heck out of me and stuff like that. So he was getting old, but he still had a ton of energy. So that's the thing on Chester. I was going to make a Jones Act survival video on it and thought, well, no, I'll just keep it. We'll just keep it, I guess, on a personal level. And if people ask, it's fine. I'm not ashamed by him just running away. I mean, ultimately, I can't control an animal's actions. So it is what it is. But, yeah. All right, I got to go in, wash my hands up. But I think that was a good question, Mike. I think a lot of people are wondering, and maybe the more people that know on here maybe can step up when it comes to other comments, like on that northern seclusion thing, and be like, yo, this is the story on that. That way a person doesn't have to explain it to every single person. You know, if we all help, it's always good. So sounds like World War III out there. So yeah, I'm heading in, but thanks for watching, guys. I was really amazed by that. I haven't done an oil change in a long time. Since I had my new car in 2012, I've always just brought it in. Like I've done oil changes and stuff before, but when you get something new, you just don't want to mess with it, especially a car, because you gotta jack it up. At least on the truck, I can squeeze myself underneath there and do it. So it took less time than the dealership, less money than the dealership, and I know it was done to my liking, which you wouldn't get from the dealership either. So that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it, and talk to you later.